Hello and welcome to the second episode of Universal Studios Great Britain Updates. My name is Mike and I am very excited because we have got a lot of news to talk about today. And this time I am joined by Grace.
Hello.
So, Grace, what has happened? What big, monumental Universal Studios Great Britain news has happened this week?
Okay, so this week they've had the events on to talk to the local people.
Yes, the public consultations.
That's correct, yes.
So it was, December when Universal announced that this project was something that they were looking into. And now in April, which is an incredibly short amount of time,
soon, isn't it? Yeah.
we have attended events where Universal are basically selling us what they want to do, which, yes, something that we would have never thought
very
possible.
Very surreal.
Incredibly surreal. So they held two events. The first one was at Kimberley Sixth Form College in the village of Stewartby, which is basically the village that backs onto the southern parcel of land that they own in Kempston Hardwick. And that one was on Saturday the 13th of April from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's the one that we went along to.
Yep.
There was also a second event, which was at Bedford College on the 16th of April. That was a midweek affair, and that was from 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. So, exciting. The fact that we were all invited as locals and people from further afield as well to go to these events and listen to what they had to say and offer our feedback. So
it made it more real, didn't it?
It did. It made it feel like we walked into the site. So we walked down the road in front of Stewartby Kimberley College, and there was an actual Universal Studios sign.
It was so funny to see the
outside.
flags with the Universal, branding on it. It was really, really weird.
It really was. Until this moment, it's just been a bit of a website. It's been us wandering onto the site, but then suddenly we're seeing logos in Stewartby.
Yeah. So mad. Absolutely crazy to see that it's actually sort of coming to fruition a bit.
So we went into the college grounds. We were greeted by a lot more of the signage and things like that.
Yeah.
And a really long queue line. What used to be a really long queue line. There were the barriers for a queue line, which is hopefully not a sign of things to come when the park eventually opens.
We do love a queue, though, as a Brit.
We do, yeah. It's just like if you see some people stood in a line, you're just going to go and join them.
It. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you don't know what it's for.
No, it's just it's clearly something important, and I want to be a part of it. It's like that old saying where if you just stand next to a building and look up, people will come and stand next to you and look up as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah.
So, yes. But we got there quite late in the afternoon. It was about 2:30. And allegedly, before 11 o'clock, they were queuing around the block. Yeah. And I think I read a tweet or saw a tweet, something like that, where they were saying they were waiting for half an hour or more.
Really? Just to get in?
To get in. But if you remember, when we arrived, they asked us to basically sign in.
Yeah.
So,
that would have held people up then.
So they gave everyone an iPad and asked them to sign in. It was a little bit like being at school, being told, "Here, sir."
Yeah.
So, we got in and basically, it was the PDF.
Yeah, it was just all the information that you get that you can view on the Universal Project website, but it was all printed out and blown up into big poster type things that people could gather around and read for themselves. And each area had a Universal representative there next to it to discuss it further, to answer any questions that people may had, or to sort of respond to any concerns that people raised at the time as well.
It did, yeah. And also there were sort of slightly smaller versions printed out so you could pick them up and wander around with them.
Yeah, they were like ring binders almost, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. So there were multiple different opportunities for you to ingest this information. Mm-hmm. And also on the right-hand side, as you walked into the college, on the right-hand side, there was a few tables. There was some more iPads for you to leave your feedback. There's also a really long refreshments table. So there was urns full of tea and coffee.
Yeah.
There were cold drinks. There were pastries and snacks and fruit and things like that. So they were making sure everyone was fed and watered and well looked after and seen to, and it was all complimentary.
Yeah, which was a nice surprise.
So we filled our boots on 7-Up, which was, cheers for that, Universal. If nothing else comes to this, we've had a free drink out of you.
Free drink, yeah.
So that was nice. There was also like some tables in the centre with like colouring.
Yeah, so they
stuff.
had little pieces of paper for the children that attended, where they could basically draw their favourite Universal character that they may or may not want to see put into a ride, I think it was, or something like that. But also they did have printed out QR codes as well on A5 cards with where it would link through to like the feedback form, which was really good because that meant that you didn't have to then queue or wait around for the iPad to be free for you to leave the feedback. You could take one of those away with you.
Yes, that's it. And basically what they were trying to do is get kids to design the park for them for free.
Yeah.
So, if you've got your squiggly line roller coaster built at Universal Studios Great Britain in 6 years, then thanks for that.
Yeah.
You'll go down in history. So we actually got to the event. It was partway through. Two of Universal's representatives, two of the bigwigs actually, John McReynolds, and Paige Thompson. They were doing a talk, so we kind of held back a little bit because we didn't want to catch it from halfway through. So we kind of took in everything that was going on, and there were a lot of people. Like we mentioned how when the event opened there was a big queue, but when we got there, would you say there were 200, maybe 250 people in there?
Yeah, I'd say that was about right. It was full of people in the room. And like you say, they were doing a talk at the time, but even though there were people pushed up to the front to listen to the talk, the room was still full near the back and by the PDFs, all of people reading the information.
Yeah, so the event kind of took place within the college, but within like the communal areas of the college where there's like a cafe and stuff. So there was none of the sort of tables that would usually be there, I guess. So it was a big open space. But yeah, even though it was a fairly big space, there was very little room to move around purely because of how many people were in there.
Yeah, it was quite difficult to read the PDFs at times because of the people that were crowding around it, trying to read it.
People gave no craps when it came to
no.
You're reading this? I'm going to put my head in front of yours and screw you guys.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we had already seen the information. There was no new information. And we knew that going in there, but we just wanted to go in there and feel all the atmosphere and the response and things like that. And even Universal said that they were surprised at the turnout of this event.
Yeah, they said that, was it 10 times the amount of interest?
It's something like
feedback?
That. Yeah, that was another thing they said. The amount of positivity that they'd had was unlike anything that they'd had when looking into building a new resort. So that is surely a good sign, right?
Yeah, I would have thought.
That must be a good sign.
I would have thought that they would probably be pretty pleased about that. You know, I think they even said themselves that they don't want to build theme parks where people don't want them. It makes it a lot easier if people are receptive to them being there.
Yeah, exactly. So there were a lot of locals there. There were also some sort of notable theme park enthusiasts and vloggers, things like that went along, which, okay, yes, it was a local people's event, but not all locals are going to be able to make it, and it's also something that's going to have a national interest as well. So I think having a small amount of vloggers turn up and do their thing is probably good for the sake of sort of showing what it's all about and keeping people informed with the situation.
Yeah, it gets word out better as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And within a crowd that are going to be more likely to shout praise about the project as well, rather than just local people who might be a little on the fence or not sure
or chaining themselves to fences.
Yeah. Well, that was another thing. There was very little.
No, there wasn't.
People seemingly threatening to chain themselves to anything.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really hear any negativity at all when we were there. There were obviously people with concerns, people that were speaking about specifically the local roads, and I overheard a conversation about the local train stations being built and sort of how important they were to Universal to be built, of which the reply was very important. So there were definitely concerns, but in terms of people actually against the project, I didn't hear any of that. I don't know about you.
No, not at all. But the thing with the train stations is as well that, specifically the Wixham station, they've had delay after delay after delay. And if they can use Universal as a bullet in the chamber to actually get this station made, then they're going to want to make sure that that's a guarantee. Because yes, the park could be built, but there's nothing to say that the train station wouldn't then be pushed back again or something like that. So they're going to want guarantees that, it's going to be tit for tat. They're going to get what they want, and they'll back the project.
And that's the trains that are supposedly going to be coming from London as well, isn't it? So I would imagine that would be definitely a high priority for Universal to have that built. Yeah,
massively. I think currently Wixham's residents are going to have to go get a taxi or a car into Bedford and then get a train out. So
yeah, definitely.
So the talks took place every 30 minutes.
Yeah, they implemented that as well, didn't they? They changed. That wasn't actually going to be the case. It's because of the turnout that they upped it to every 30 minutes.
Yes. So Paige Thompson and John McReynolds, they basically had to kind of do this exact same talk every 30 minutes, which went pretty well, I would say. So it opened with them kind of introducing themselves. And it then went into them showing a video which sort of showcased everything that Universal, Orlando, Hollywood, all the Asia parks had to show for it.
Yeah.
And that seemed to go down well. They also asked everyone if anyone had been to Universal before, and basically everyone in that room put their hands up.
I think they said that there was someone there from opening day of Florida as well.
They did,
which was pretty incredible.
Someone from the opening day of the Orlando park was there. So it's safe to say that they're going to be back in the project.
Yeah, you'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so then they went into why Bedford, and the response to that was, why not Bedford? And then they kind of paused for applause. Not realising that we're British people and we don't do that over here.
No.
But they went into the information about, because it's flat, they need at least 500 acres, which they have once they've got that additional parcel where the slip road will go from the A421. It's got good drainage, there is good transport. And they highlighted that they want to fill the empty trains coming up from London in the morning. So obviously commuters are getting the train from Bedford and surrounding towns like Milton Keynes, Bletchley, and they're going into London, but then those trains are coming back empty.
Yeah, it's the opposite direction of traffic flow, isn't it?
Exactly. And then once everyone's coming home from work in the evenings as well, they will then be full trains, and then they'll take all the travellers back from Universal back to London in the evening. So it should not really have much of an impact.
Not really, I wouldn't have thought, no. Not in terms of the carriages on the trains.
Exactly. And then they talked about jobs, 8,000 jobs.
Yes, is that in total? Was that to begin with? Because they gave a second number.
They said 8,000 jobs when the park opens. This is not including construction. So 8,000 jobs when it all opens up, which would rise to around 10,000. So I guess that is with additional City Walk restaurants, hotels, rides, attractions, and then who knows, once they start to utilise that northern parcel of land,
there'll be other things that they need to employ.
Exactly, that could even double by the end of it. So if there's a second gate there,
exactly.
Who knows?
They did also say about how, which I didn't know, that they currently use local breweries to source their craft beers and stuff. So they would be looking to communicate with local businesses if this were to go ahead to bring in even more business from sort of independent businesses within the UK, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that they're going to support the local infrastructure around as well, local businesses. And they said for every job that they will have within the resort themselves, an additional 1.5 jobs will spring up around the local area, which my maths is pretty terrible, but that should be 20,000 total jobs.
Roughly, yeah.
Something like that. So And that's a lot of people that are going to be in jobs, and yeah, that is certainly a good thing.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say that employment alone will definitely benefit.
Yeah, 100%. And we will also benefit because we get a nice, shiny, international standard theme park that will compete on the world scale.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm here for it. We're here for it. So they were also happy to answer questions. People seemed to crowd around them from basically moment that the talk stopped, from the moment that the next talk started.
Yeah, there was no gap for...
Yeah.
There was also a queue to get to them to speak to them at one point.
There were queues all over the shop. But the atmosphere was buzzing.
It was. It definitely felt like there was a positive vibe within the room, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, there was. Consider, we've already touched on how they asked if people had been to a Universal resort before.
Yeah.
So the room was full of fans.
Yeah, I would say. Fans and locals and local fans.
Fans, locals, local fans.
Yeah.
But we know that 1 million Brits, thereabout, go over to Orlando every year.
Yeah, it's a big business to go over to Orlando.
And that's like 1 in every 65 people every year. So not that maths works in the way that in 65 years every single Brit will have gone over there, because obviously there's going to be a lot of repeat visitors in there, with Adam Hatton being sort of half of those people.
Yeah, he goes a lot.
So yeah, it's a huge enthusiasm about the project.
Do you think that it will replace the need to go to America as a Brit?
I'm sure they have thought about that. And one of the rumours that Alicia Stella originally touched on was that there would be no duplicate attractions coming over from any of the US parks, or was it specifically Orlando, which means, we're not likely to get a Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure or a Fast and Furious Supercharged. I'm sorry about that.
What a shame.
Yeah, or Escape from Gringotts, or a Velocicoaster, which is probably going to upset quite a lot of people, because there are some world-class rides at Universal Orlando.
Yeah.
And with more to come when Epic Universe opens in 2025. But, what it does mean is they can pick and choose some of the more popular rides from other resorts around the world, like the Jurassic World ride in Beijing, something like Secret Life of Pets from Hollywood, Flying Dinosaur from Osaka. So there's loads, absolutely loads that they could do, as well as the obvious original attractions.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but in that promotional video there was a lot of Jurassic Park featured.
There was.
Don't know if that's just speculation or I would love to have Jurassic Park there, so I don't know if that's just a biased view of me hoping for Jurassic Park, but there was a lot of Jurassic Park.
Well, I don't think there's a single Universal resort out there that doesn't have something Jurassic.
Yeah.
So Hollywood, Orlando, Singapore, Beijing. They've all got
it.
They've all got Jurassic Park. So
it would be an anomaly then.
It would be, and I would chain myself to the fence if they didn't put in Jurassic World. So, Universal execs, if you're listening, because I know you're a big fan, make sure Jurassic has a place in this park, because there'll be 2 sad Jurassic Park fans here.
There would be, very sad. I want the panpipes.
Panpipe from Islands of Adventure soundtrack.
Yes,
and those resort buses with the panpipe Jurassic Park.
I would love that.
Yeah, it was a good day when they uploaded the soundtrack to YouTube, so we can now sit here and pretend we're at Universal when we're just in our cold living room in England.
With the rain outside.
The cold, sad rain. So, hopefully that glum mood becomes a happy mood when in the next few months we find out more about whether or not they want to go ahead.
Yeah, so when are they... So we've got the feedback form. The survey needs to be done by was it the 5th of May?
The 3rd of May.
The 3rd of May?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the rumours are, and I covered this in my last video, the rumours are, or the confirmation that we got from the parish council over there in wee little Lidlington, is that we will, or Universal will make the decision in June.
Oh, okay. So we really may not have to wait that long at all, really.
No.
If they announce it. That's not to say they'll announce it.
Yeah, I fully expect, even if they do make a positive decision in June, that we probably won't find something out until, at the very least, the autumn.
Do you think they'll be able to keep it secret?
Probably
No,
not.
I don't know if they would. I think
No.
that'd be leaked.
We'll probably get signs that something's happening.
Yeah, if nothing else, they're just going to carry on working on the land, aren't they?
Yeah, you would have thought so. And the likes of, like, currently the northern parcel of land has a lot of security fencing up and things like that. So you'd imagine that they might slowly dribble away from the site if it doesn't go ahead. But yeah, you're right. These things will invariably come out in one way or another, whether or not they want it to, in the fashion that they want it to, when they want it to.
I don't know about you though, but I definitely got the vibe that it was kind of a decision had already been made.
Yeah.
From the two execs. I mean, at one point there was like Freudian slips, and
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah. They very regularly said something like, when we build this resort, and then quickly change their mindset. Sorry, if we build this resort. So it feels like, that was a major slip of the tongue that they did several times.
Several times, yeah, according to the feedback on the forums and stuff.
So the time we heard it was not the only time they did it.
No. It definitely did feel like they'd already kind of made a decision. And just based on the money that they must have spent to prep the land with the fencing and the bricking up of the little ticket booth that's going to be
the ticket booth.
It kind of does feel like potentially, fingers crossed, touch wood, it's going to go ahead.
I would say, to me, it felt like the public consultation was a box ticking exercise. They've already made their mind up, but they can't go ahead and say that it's going ahead without their, doing everything by the book. So making sure that they've considered the public opinion, they've taken that into account. Because if they did that, they're going to get a bunch of angry locals who will sort of say, well, you didn't ask us what we thought about it. In which case, that's not good for PR. No,
they need to go about it seemingly respectfully, I suppose. So. And they even said themselves that they don't want to build a theme park where they're not wanted, basically. So by them doing this, they kind of get a vibe of the local area.
Yes, and it certainly sounds like, from the response they've had, that there are a lot of people who are excited about the project.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Me included, you included.
Me included, yeah.
We're all included.
We're all included, yeah.
So, anything else to add?
I don't think so. I'm just really eager to find out, as I'm sure everybody is, when we're going to know as to if this is going ahead or not.
Yeah. I am quietly confident that in 6 years' time we will be walking through the gates of Universal Studios Great Britain. But we have that rather small hurdle first to overcome. That is, will it actually go ahead?
I know. But they're saying all the right things, and they're doing all the right things.
And seemingly finding all the right things. Like, we've seen that site, and there are a hell of a lot of trenches there. And they're all just basic trenches. There's no trenches that indicate that they found something that they want to look further into. So that's a good sign. No tents, no big teams, just those diggers dragging muds, putting them to the side, and then moving on to the next one, which is what we want to see.
Presumably they'll just fill those back in.
Yeah, you would assume so, or they will, do something to the entire site when it comes to prepping the land. I'm not really into construction at all, so I don't know how you prep a building site ahead of a multi-international theme park construction project. But
I mean, that the south parcel of land is very much sort of done, I would have thought so anyway. But it's the northern part that's got all the concrete and stuff on it.
Yeah, but that's going to probably be the staging site where they keep everything and before they move it to the site and things like that.
Yeah, they're not going to want to rip all that up before, otherwise it'll just become a muddy...
Exactly, they'll just have to re-concrete it. They'll probably, I don't know, they'll crack out a pressure washer just to tidy it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, exciting times ahead.
Very, very exciting, yeah.
And we shall watch the site with bated breath to see what happens next. And we will hopefully hear some rumblings of the news following all this due diligence bull stuff. I can't think of the words.
Due diligence.
Due diligence.
Yeah, just say it really fast.
Due diligence.
Yeah.
And then we will hopefully find a nice positive press release that comes out saying that they want to go ahead with this project.
I was kind of secretly hoping they were going to have little Universal Studios Bedford pins, but yeah, they didn't have those, unfortunately.
Early merch. We did actually pick up some merch, just some of the feedback forms.
Yeah.
It counts as merch because it's got Universal's logo on it, you see.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course it does. You know, this is history at the end of the day, and you know, we're theme park geeks, so it's just a little bit of something.
Exactly.
Just to keep hold of.
We will frame it. We will hang it on the wall in our Museum of Universal Great Britain. So, thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Yes, thank you very much for tuning in.
It was certainly very, very interesting to go along to the event and to get a scope of how everyone's feeling about it. And it all does seem very positive.
It really does. And if there are any more, I'm sure we'll be attending future ones as well.
Of course. And we will also be here to update you fine people on all the news and rumblings when it comes to Universal Studios Great Britain. So, thank you very much for listening. Please do like the podcast, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell and all that good stuff. And we will be here for the next video next time. So thank you very much, and we shall see you then.
See you later.